Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, of course, man, it's a lot of topics to talk about in the world, but we got Luka the Don, man. So I kind of want to talk about that. Of course, I left a video up there this morning reacting to the presser, feeling kind of bad for the guy, you know, but at the same time, understanding that life can bring us into some awkward, what's the word? Paradises. Some uncomfortable paths to paradise. You know what I mean? It's like getting on a crowded bus to heaven, that type of thing. And I think that's what Luka's on, man. I really think he's gonna love his tenure with the Lakers. I think we understand him a little bit better than maybe Dallas was able to in terms of that front office. Remember, we dealt with Shaq and his unwillingness to get in shape. You know what I mean? We got rid of Shaq for that reason too. So we can kind of relate, but we've been through some stuff where we had a superstar that could dominate without working. But I tell Luka, you know, first of all, he says that he doesn't believe that there's anything wrong. You know, he has trainers and stuff like that. And he thinks his condition is where it needs to be. His father came out and said, look, he played 40 minutes a game, 100 games last season. And you try to talk about some damn conditioning? He beat all those players, just like I said. He beat all those players that they said was in better conditioning than him. He's beating the hell out of them. So, like, what do you really want to say about his conditioning? If he ain't in shape, who he is? Well, he beating all the people they say is in shape. Going for the numbers that they, on an everyday night, that they would consider to be some of their best games. You know what I'm saying? 38-8 is not nothing to play with. 34-10-8 or whatever he was doing, that ain't nothing to play with. And so for me, it's like, if he's doing all that chubby, well, what are he gonna do when he get in shape? And that's what I think he should try to, you know, I don't think he should buck or dispute people who say he can get in better shape. I don't think he should. There is a definite path to Luka the Don getting in stronger, better conditioning. I don't think that's a secret. Saying he was pushing 270, he ain't pushing 270 right now. Not with what we saw. You know what I mean? If he pushing 270, that's a slim 270 on his frame. So I think he looks pretty good. But I always look at him and say he can get in better shape. But I never looked at him and said, I'm going to keep him from getting the max amount of money because he ain't getting in shape. Even when he was holding that damn beer that Michael Finley pulled out of his hand, did I say anything of those sorts? Hell no. Why? Because at the end of the day, he's 25 years old. Let's assume he never takes care of himself ever again. The duration of the contract that we're going to give him is for 4 or 5 years. 5 years from now, if he never takes care of himself ever again, he's still Luka the Don. He probably have to retire early. He probably going to have some injury issues. But if he plays 70, 65 games, he going to put up 165 games worth of production. You see what I'm saying? Because that's who he is. That's what he does. He's an extreme producer. He puts up more numbers than anybody, really. And so when you look at the player and you know what his skill set is, you know that it's not empty stats because he's in the finals, in the Western Conference Finals. When you understand what it is that he brings to the table, you don't lowball him. When you look at people who ain't half as talented as him, getting twice as much money as him, and then you say to yourself, why is he being lowballed like this? As that's the only thing left to say. Why is he being lowballed? So, I don't know, man. I'm of the mindset that we got Luka at a discount. That if he resigns with us, we're getting him on a massive discount because of how he was screwed over. And that's unfortunate, but you know, for what it is that we're trying to do in terms of team building, it should make it so that he's able to be on a team that's very talented. Maybe we have a better path to building around him because of it. And so that's what I want to say. I think he's going to be a hell of a Laker. And on $227 million contract for like, what is that, 50-something a year, almost 60 a year, that's dirt cheap for what it is I expect him to do. Because I thought he was worth 70 a year. I really do. So it's like, for me, I don't know, man. And that's, mind you, him fat. Him out of shape and drinking beer is worth 70 a year. To me. So I'm not on the mindset of, oh, he gotta turn into Hulk Hogan before I'm ready to give him the money. Like, hell nah, bro. Because even if you're in that type of shape, you can still have injury issues like he's had. Some of these dudes that are in better conditioning than him, they average the same amount of games he plays. They don't get as far in the playoffs. And you're still happy with him, so that's where it becomes a discrimination conversation for me. And I don't know if that's the right word, because discrimination is often associated with something that we're not talking about. But if you're going to look at a guy and say that we don't think he's going to produce a certain amount, and the evidence tells you that he can produce that amount in the same condition he's in, and you look at like soft tissue injuries that ain't kept him out all season long, because I don't want to hear nothing about him being injury prone. When you look at some of these dudes they paying, you know, some of the people they allow to stick around this damn league, averaging 30 games a season and crap, talking about we want first round pick for the guy. If you gonna cite that type of language, you need not associate it with a guy who's averaging 34, 10, and 8 and getting to the finals that year. That's just you disrespect yourself when you do that. You do better just come out saying, yo, I'm cheap, I don't want to pay him. I respect you more for that. You say, I'm cheap, I ain't paying the guy. He ain't getting the money because I don't want to fork it over. Say that, Adelson. Say that, Nico. Just come out and say, no matter who he is, he could average twice that amount. I'm still not paying him that amount because that's just what I'm about. If that's what you're going to do, then do that. But don't come out here and say, well, we worry he's fat, he's chubby, his conditioning is why we don't want to pay him the money he's earned. Man, go to hell. So that's how I feel about Dallas. The Dallas Mavericks, they just, you know, if I'm being honest with you, I'm just mad at Mark Cuban for selling the team to that lady. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's what it really come down to. Because she wasn't ready to pay the cost to do business. She had a top 3 basketball player in the league. She knew exactly what the criteria was for having a player of that production. And she didn't want to pay him. That's all it is to it, man. We can just call it like it is. That's all it was. You got a player that's going to go in the Hall of Fame first ballot, who's likely going to lead your team to championships, but you didn't want to pay the price tag on it. That's all it is. And so for me, I don't have a whole lot of respect for that, for them over there, not in how they're handling this, because it's very easy to just say, I'm not paying that. I don't want to do the cost of doing business. I'd rather my team not have a top 3 player, and we just try to win with players under that tier because it's too expensive to keep these dudes. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, unfortunately for their fan base, it's probably going to be a long time before they get another player of that caliber. They acting like guys like that grow on trees. Like you can cast away a dude that is above the production level of just about everybody else. Just cast him away. At 25 years old, like that's so irresponsible. That is so irresponsible. And then you got basketball groups who are ready to buy basketball teams. You got people, 7, 8 men, 8 women, or what have you. It's $4 billion ready to pay right now for a new team. And you got the owners like this running around who don't want to pay the top talent for the top dollar. You know what I'm saying? It's just craziness. So I don't like it. I love it because Luka lands with us. You know? I love it for us. It's a basketball team that needs a future. A mortgage half our damn future away. Now this gives us that value back. Worst comes to worst, we trade him for everything that Nico wasn't willing to trade him for. And get like 10, 12 picks and 2 players for him and stuff like that. That's how you handle that. And I get it. Anthony Davis probably worth about 8 picks. Okay. Max Christie might be considered a first round pick at this point. He's worth that. Well on his way to being better than that. He's more helpful on the floor than he probably is in the value system. So he's going to help you win. Cool. Anthony Davis, first round pick from the Lakers, probably not worth a lot, but it's still a first rounder. You can shop it. Okay, that's in a nutshell a hell of a haul. But not a hell of a haul for Luka Doncic and what he's worth at 25 years of age with his resume. That's not a hell of a haul for that. So that really helps my team because now we can sit up here and say, shoot, Anthony Davis worth 8 picks for 9 picks, something like that. On our best negotiation process, we can reset our situation, get him for like 8 picks. At worst, probably about 5. If he starts to depreciate in value and get age a little longer, maybe we got to trade him as an expiring contract. We probably get like 5 picks for him at 33 years of age, like we were planning or something like that when LeBron retires. This gives us not only something that's worth more, but something that makes it so that we don't have to initiate any type of rebuild. We don't have to worry about no 15-game win seasons. You don't have to. And so that means a lot to us just in and of itself. Even if this dude walks around fat and only playing 50 games a season, we still got to draw like this for Jeanie Buss to make money off of, which matters to her. Somebody that's going to make us want to come to the arenas, make it so that road teams want to fill up their seats full of high-paying customers. They can still keep those Laker tickets in the cosmos when you go to places like New Orleans and Sacramento. You understand what I'm saying? This is what it's about to be a Laker for Jeanie Buss and her tenure to make that money. So even if we played it through the draft, there's no guarantee you get a guy like this. With all due respect to Anthony Davis, he didn't necessarily do that. He was more for winning. Like you're gonna get more help from him on the court than you're gonna get from him off it. He's not somebody that's gonna have you come into the arena to watch him play. But he was somebody where if you put him next to the right pieces, you can win multiple championships. And that's what you got to take into account when you don't want to pay Luka his money. Like, do you know how much money you just lost? I don't think they really thought that part out. Like, you do understand, yeah, you're going to have to pay him $345 million, but he's going to gross way more than that just off the strength of his name and his talent level and his star power. You ain't going to sell as many Anthony Davis jerseys as you're going to sell Luka Doncic jerseys. You're just not. Especially now. I respect Anthony Davis. He sold a lot of jerseys with the Laker uniform, but it was, you know, for the sake of what's going to net me the money, it's LeBron James that nets you the money. You know what I'm saying? It's AD and Bron. And people buying the jerseys because they know Bron's on the team with him. It's like, okay, you got the Laker, you got LeBron, you got AD. Of course you're going to get an AD jersey because he run with LeBron. Like, that's literally how that works. I don't think too many people are going to be buying AD jerseys now they're in Dallas. Not like that, man. It's just not, that's not what he do. That's not his personality. That's not what he brings to the table. Luka do. Luka definitely does. Luka going to have the fans voting for him. You understand what I'm saying? In an all-star game, he's going to have the fan vote in a lot of cases, especially now he's putting on this purple and gold. So I don't know what Dallas is doing. I don't know. They just, sometimes you hurt yourself, man. Sometimes you just overthink stuff. I don't want to give him that contract. And you also don't want the profit that comes with the player. I don't think his production is going to sustain because he's not in shape. Well, the production you just received, you now just gave away. Ain't nobody else gonna do that stuff that he did. Not to mention what he means for other players with his passing gift, making other people better. Some of those players on your roster are only worth what they're worth because they had a passer like Luka getting them the ball and a shooter like Luka creating space for them. That player is gone. Anthony ain't about to do that. He's gonna help you defensively, but you're gonna lose some spacing down there. You're gonna lose some continuity. He can get assists off. Don't get it twisted. He's gotten a lot better at that. That's not his gift. You better have some dudes that can get it on their own. You better have some dudes that can help make teams better by having them on the floor with other people. And at this point, they don't have that. They got Kyrie Irving looking to get his own. Kyrie's superpower is with the ball in his hands, dribbling and finishing. He ain't trying to orchestrate. He ain't trying to turn into Magic Johnson for you or Steve Nash for you. You don't have that piece no more. So it's like, and they talking about they winning now. You ain't winning nothing. You're going to win in the regular season for sure. Just like Anthony Davis said, we're going to win a lot of games for you. Yeah, you are. But when it comes to the playoffs, you're getting out of here. It's only but so much of that that's going to work. You're going to win some games. Playoffs, that's not sustainable until you get that player that's going to make other people better. You gave him away because you said his conditioning wasn't right, like weight can't be lost or something. It's craziness. Like weight don't come off the body when it runs. It's craziness. Like his conditioning is going to be such a problem, dude, 25 years old. It's craziness. So that's what come to mind for me. I don't doubt that there are a lot of people having a lot of different conversations that sound just like mine, because we're all up in arms about how they handled that young man. How they just casted him away, broke his heart. Seeing him this morning holding up my uniform, miserable about it, man. That's just like, what? That's not how that's supposed to go. I ain't never seen a superstar hold up a Laker jersey with sadness in his eyes. But I've also never seen a superstar get cast away like a thief in the night, sent to a place like LA where everybody be happy to go. It's craziness. It's just the most weird way of doing things. And I guess they call themselves loving, and they're going to send him to LeBron to get in shape, send him to the Lakers like every superstar should be. So maybe that softens the blow, but like, I don't think it did for him. I don't think it has done that yet anyway. I think he's miserable about it. I think he's sick about it, and that's just what it is. He might have dreamed about being a Laker at one point, but not when he's 5 years into a Hall of Fame career with a certain team, and their whole fan base is all about him, and got statues of guys outside, and he's fallen, in love with the idea of being one of them dudes. And it's like, come to LA. Yeah, that's great. Once he settles into him, I think he's gonna love that too. He'll start creating new goals for himself as a Laker, but that's absolutely rough on the man, He was on his way to being the greatest Dallas Maverick to ever put on their uniform. In fact, he definitely is. He accomplished that already in 5 years, in my opinion. With respect to Dirk and all he accomplished over time, the championship he won, Luka was just a better player, man. And they put a real asterisk on his legacy by seeing that he got traded at 25 years old. So I don't know how he feels about that overall, but when history looks back on this trade, it ain't like we're gonna look at Luka the Don and say, man, Luka the Don sure deserved that. I've heard some people try to rationalize and say, well, we understand the thinking because it's conditioning. I don't understand your thinking, but go crazy. I look at this as this is just simply greed. That's all that was. They didn't want to pay the man. That's it. He could have been anybody. He could have been in the best shape ever. They would have came up with some other reason not to pay him that $300 and something million. They came up with something. And that's what I actually think. So, Luka, you best believe Laker Nation is on your side, brother. We were going to be on your side anyway if you would have came our way. But under these circumstances, you will just you'll receive more love because of how dirty people did you, man. And how we know it, how we see it. Kind of put ourselves in your shoes and in the fan base's shoes in Dallas. If they would have traded away Magic Johnson when he was 25, traded away Kobe when he was 25, traded away, somebody like that. It's insanity, bro. Especially when you consider the different circumstances where players have left. Asking out our own guy, the decision when he left Cleveland initially. And you got a guy like Luka the Don who didn't even want to leave, getting casted away at that level. And sad about it is craziness. And that's what I think people are going to look at in Dallas as well. It's like, how bad we want a guy like that in such and such team that's this good, that we have drafted, that has accomplished what he accomplished, brought his team to the spaces he's taken his team. You know how bad a organization like Charlotte would love a situation like that? Organization like Brooklyn would love a situation like that to come about through the draft right now? Like, and y'all sending dude away when he hasn't even entered his prime properly yet. Got players in this league literally developing at his age right now, trying to become who they're going to become. And he's already accomplished all of that, and you didn't even want it. It's craziness. And so that's what I'm saying to all of y'all, man. I absolutely believe Luka Doncic is a better player than Dallas just played him like. I absolutely think he deserves every coin. Would have been great on a $70 million, $74 million contract. He'd have been great on that. He's going to put up production that makes sense in this era. And the idea of him being able to break a record monetarily, financially, should have been something that he was able to accomplish. And the next person that signs that contract is going to sting that much harder for him, because he knows that he wasn't lucky enough to be drafted to a team that valued his progress and his process that way. You understand what I'm saying? And then you got to look at other players in that same caliber, like Wemby. Is there any chance San Antonio does that to Wemby? I would absolutely think not. But one has to wonder. One has to wonder. You know, so I don't know, man. But we will root for Luka Doncic. We are happy he's wearing our uniform. The jerseys are probably already selling out the stands right now. Fanatics probably already breaking records. Stuff like that has probably already happened with the 77 jersey, man. First player to ever wear that jersey number in our uniform. I value that. As a Laker fan of 30 years, I just wish some people would do that more often. And I know people say, well, that don't look right. That's because you're following someone else. Well, that number doesn't look right. That's because you're constantly trying to do something someone's already done. Literally. I wish there were more people who would do what Luka did. Just bring your own, find a number that's literally never been used and put it on, bro. I don't like how it looks. It's because you're following someone else. You know how many threes we've seen? How many 23s we've seen? Come on, bro. Have some creativity. That's what I like about Luka Doncic. He put on his own number. He ain't following nobody else. He ain't looking at a number on somebody's back and saying that don't look right. The fuck number looks right? Excuse my language, but like all these numbers look weird until somebody wears it, does something with it, and all of a sudden it looks normal. And then people start growing up, idolizing that player, and they want to follow that player. So the number starts looking normal. It's a real irritant of mine listening to players say stuff like that. I don't like how that number looks. It's because you're a follower, bro. Literally. Put on something nobody else has worn. Be original for once in your lives. Shout out to Luka for that alone. At any rate, man, that's just how I feel about things, man. And I think we're going to start the process of healing, just like I said this morning. And I mean, we're excited, but we also feel like it's a sensitive situation until he starts feeling like he's home. You feel me? It's a sensitive situation until he starts feeling like he's home. And we're going to see the Dallas Mavericks fairly soon. Sometime end of February, we will see this team. So he'll get his chance to get his pound of flesh out on them. And if 3 games before the end of the season, I think we see them again after the double dip with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He'll have his chance to go down there and get his pound of flesh out of them. Of course, Anthony Davis is going to have the same thought in mind, so it's just going to be a duel. But we deserve them wins, both of them. We deserve both of them damn wins. And I have no doubt with the type of dog that Luka is, and the way that LeBron James tends to feed off of people who have energy and who are motivated, you're going to find that out too. With all due respect to Anthony Davis, I don't think he really had that effect on LeBron like that. Kyrie used to. Wade used to. I don't know that AD really had that effect on Bron. AD can have a great game. Bron just kind of sometimes follow his energy, but not. It wasn't something that was infectious. I don't believe. Luka? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. When you talk about infectious dog energy and a pace that Bron could extend his career because of, you talk about that pace that other players want to play with really fast. Luka don't have that problem. He could play in slow motion. And in playing in slow motion, he gonna make it so that LeBron James can play in slow motion and be effective in the half court and full court. See, that's one of the things that I'm most excited about Luka's gift. Some people say, oh, he plays too slow. No, he plays just right. You can't speed him up. He's a timing master as it pertains to that type of thing. He can move in slow motion, still knock you off every possession. And he stretched the floor, run off 4 and 5 threes, make supreme passes. Then LeBron makes a supreme pass, and Austin Reeves makes another pass. Our offense is about to be some of the best offense we've seen in a long time. Is what the Lakers' talent level with those 3 players alone should be able to provide us. Some of the best offense we've seen in a long time, man. When they start to get used to one another, when they start playing 30, 40 games, give it about 40 games. The rest of the season, start of next season. And they get a training camp together. They start devising that offense, the way they want to run it. I don't think LeBron gonna want to retire when he think he gonna want to retire if this thing takes off the way it's capable of taking off. He gonna want to extend. And I want people to understand this. I don't think too many people see that coming. Least of all, probably LeBron James. But if this go the way I think it could go with Luka the Don and him, he ain't gonna want to retire 2 years from now. He ain't. Because they just gonna start having that real synergy. It took him and AD about 2 years to find that synergy. With Luka's cerebral nature, I don't know if it'll take that long. But once they start figuring each other out, playing off one another, and that pace slows the game down to a space where LeBron James is more comfortable as he gets older, I don't think Bron gonna want to retire, man. He gonna want to play till he's 44 or 45. Watch. See it coming. I see it coming. Especially since this kid is gonna start probably turn into an NBA player during that time. His other son gonna be wanting to come into the league. He ain't gonna want to go nowhere. I'm telling y'all. Once Bronny starts becoming a role player in that same offense, oh my God, he ain't gonna want to go nowhere. He ain't. So I would tell Luka to already anticipate LeBron James not really wanting to go away 2 years from now when his contract's up. Already anticipate that, brother. He ain't gonna want to go away. And to a point, I don't think you're gonna want him to either. I don't think you're gonna want him to. I don't think it's going to be a situation where they're worried about superstardom. They both should be secure in their superstardom. They're both already legends. Of course, different levels, but like Luka's going to have plenty of time without LeBron James, even if he stays till he's 44. If he wants to re-sign with the Lakers throughout his course of his career, he's got plenty of time without the King. And I tell you, man, Kyrie's a special player. Jalen Brunson has turned to a special player. Luka played with Dirk early in his as a rookie. Luka ain't never played with nobody like this. He ain't never played with nobody like this. And that's something that I don't think too many people are ready to talk about just yet. Is this Luka's greatest running mate? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. Hell yes. Whether Luka's A or B, both of these dudes are going to eat off each other's passes and off each other's ability to get easy buckets. Luka more so from behind the arc. Bron more so from mid-range and inside. Some of that stuff that Luka had to do with Dallas to get easy buckets will not be required. So LeBron James is going to take care of a lot of that. You ain't got to take half that punishment on the offensive side. Trying to drive at the rim and stuff like that, landing on your ankles and stuff like that. You can hover behind the arc and just make passes and shoot the ball. Drive when you want to drive. Bron's going to drive naturally. Austin going to drive naturally. So I'm telling y'all, man, I feel the same way about us as I felt about the Phoenix Suns. If built correctly around, we should be unguardable with the type of players that we have on this team. The Phoenix Suns should have been able to, in theory, be efficient on every play. But it hasn't manifested into that because of the regression of Bradley Beal. We don't have that problem with Austin Reeves. He's getting better. KD, is still efficient, but Devin Booker's proven to not be as efficient in that offense. I don't think Luka Don or LeBron James will have those issues. LeBron tends to have his 1 for 8 from behind the arc days, but he ain't got a ball in his hands to really do that too often. Not the same way, not with Luka on the team. Luka's going to control more of the offense from here on out, so some of those turnovers are going to be an issue because they both tend to turn the ball over a lot. So I can totally see a game in the future where both of them turn the ball over 7 times. That's going to drive us crazy. But they're going to make up for it they're going to definitely make up for it as well. So just the idea of what we can do, we just got to get us some rim protection and some point of attack defensive players that are gifted. A Max Christie-like player. We need something like that now. Somebody who can guard the Ja Morants, guard De'Aaron Foxes, people like that. You have to get yourself somebody like that. Go get Davion Mitchell if we can. You need a piece like that. I've heard Toumani Camara, that's probably a good piece as well. You just need somebody who can stay in front of these people, man, defensively. And get yourself a defensive shot blocker, maybe 2 of them, preferably. A rebounding forward. Maybe Rui can hold that down, but I don't like him as a rebounder per se. I think Luka's going to help us with the boards. I think our overall rebounding talent has gone up no, not when you lose in Anthony Davis. But Luka the Don can rebound the ball very well. We can rebound the ball very well. So I don't think we're going to fall off as a team, rebound the ball as much as maybe we'd expect losing Anthony Davis. Because Luka's going to get his. And Vando's back in place now, as to which we couldn't count him in over the last several years. So like now that you have that piece in play, assuming he can stay healthy, you feel good about potentially having a better rebounding basketball club. If Vando can stay healthy and just reach his potential. Dorian in place, which is going to be better in theory with that. So, I don't know. I think we're going to need that center, though. It would be great if we can get that center before the trade deadline. And it would be great if they're a young player like Nicholas Claxton, Walker Kessler. I heard Jalen Duren, although I don't think that's realistic. But like that type of piece that can align with Luka's timeline and Austin's timeline. And so, yeah, that's where my head is, man. Timeline sensitivity is a real thing, though. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't want to think too far ahead, but in the next 2 years, I don't really think I need too many projects. Because even though Luka's 25, I don't really need too many 20-year-olds who don't know how to play yet. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily need to be developing anybody just because I got this rebuilding-ish timeline. Because I don't think, just like Wemby, I don't think these young players are actually players that need to be playing with people that don't know how to play. That win later timeline doesn't necessarily fit their greatness, readiness to win. So I treat them like I would treat the 28-year-old. Luka might as well be 30 the way the timeline looks to me as it pertains to who I'm putting around him. You know, literally. And if that is how we handle it, I think we'll be very happy with our timeline and ultimately with the ability to put something together that could compete. Really, really compete. And so, yeah, man, ain't no need to trade LeBron James. He don't want to be traded. He has a no-trade clause anyway. I think he fits just fine with Luka the Don so long as we get the defensive talent to help. I don't think we really should be shopping King James. Especially not for no Golden State package. No. Kuminga type of... Nah, man. That's not even reasonable. Wiggins and Kuminga. I could use Wiggins at this point, but not the contract necessarily. You know, I heard the Lakers are interested in Gary Payton and Kevon Looney. I like the experience and the championship quality that they bring, but I don't trust either one of. Well, Kevon Looney is just like he's going to help. He's going to help, but I don't look at him as a player who's necessarily what I am looking for. Not what I'm looking for. I think I want a little more athleticism in my front court, if at all possible. A little more bouncy. But what I can say is Kevon Looney doesn't miss too many basketball games. He's an Iron Man. If he's missed any basketball games at all, he's been available for every game he's ever played, basically. I think he's had some DNPs, but not necessarily somebody that you're not going to count on to stay healthy. That's definitely what he's not. But he does have a lot of wear and tear on him, so I don't want to push that going forward into the second half of his career. He's been around for a while now. He's played behind a lot of people. A lot of people have stepped in front of him. In Golden State, I don't want to overrate him. I don't. I think he showed he was a hell of a piece 2 years ago, rebounding the ball. 3 years ago, when they won that championship, he was an absolute dog in the playoffs. So I don't want to underrate him either. But I'm just not a massive believer that he is what we need at the center position, and then we can just dust our hands off and move forward. No, absolutely not. He could be a piece, but not necessarily the answer. Not necessarily. So, like, these are things we're thinking about, man. I heard we could be going after Kevon Looney and Gary Payton. And, look, if we get those guys, I think I'll feel pretty good about it. But from what I understand, they combined make $48 million. Like, ain't no way neither one of them people worth any of that. No way. If that's what we're going to have to send out to get them, Golden State better send back something young or some pick or something. Because that don't make no sense to me. Not based on the monetary exchange there. If I got to send out Rui, and I don't feel that great about that. I think it'll get better for Rui. If Toronto would be reasonable, they can give us Jakob Poeltl and Davion Mitchell. That would be like a real good win for me. I'm not a huge Jakob Poeltl guy, even though he is having a career year. I don't really look at him like he is going to be the answer necessarily. But the production's the production. He is playing wildly good ball this year. When he was healthy, start of the season, he looked like an all-star for certain. So I think that Jakob Poeltl would probably make us feel really good that we're picking up a good asset in this league. He's developed pretty well. And so if he's going to be on the move, I would love for him to land with us. But I do think that Toronto was wanting him a little more than we're willing to give. But I'm a big fan of Davion Mitchell. And given the fact that we just lost Max Christie, I want somebody like that on my team. Off night. Somebody that can just stay in front of people like De'Aaron and Maxey and all that. Give me somebody like that. And given the fact that he's in a log jam sort of in Toronto, they got him twice over in Jamal Sheed. That's just like another Davion Mitchell. They don't need Davion Mitchell. They really don't. So that's who I like. If I'm going to do a deal with somebody, I would like to have a conversation with Masai Ujiri. But see, the problem is that it's Masai Ujiri, so he's going to look to fleece you. You know, he's like that. So that's what I say to you guys. I want the Lakers to definitely do something over the next 48 hours or whatever it is. I think it's 48 hours till the trade deadline. I think we could do some things that can at least make our short-term unit look a bit more winnable. We can, competitive. Because right now, if I'm sitting on Jackson Hayes and I'm sitting on Koloko and Jimison, I'm not serious. I'm not a serious ball club. Even with Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, I'm still not an actual serious ball club. So once you go up against real bigs, they just go eat, and that's going to be it. And so that's what I say to you guys. I don't think so. It's going to require us to upgrade there. And if we can do so within the next couple of days, I think we might be able to have a nice playoff run. I don't think we can win the championship. I definitely do not think we have the speed or athleticism to keep up with OKC and realistically, or Houston realistically. But we're going to outclass some people for sure. It's going to be very difficult. We're like another Phoenix right now, in a way, as I've already mentioned. We're like another Phoenix. Not really serious, but got a puncher's chance of upsetting somebody who don't expect to go home early. That's where we're at right now. But we need to adjust our center position. Is Nurkic an option? I know people are saying probably not. I don't know that I like Nurkic that much either, but like just as a plug-in center for our circumstance this season, I think we could do worse. I think we're aiming for players that may be a little worse, if I'm being honest with you. I'd rather have Nurkic than Valanciunas for our situation. So, it's a huge body, man. That ain't got to be nobody great. Just a huge body, rebound the ball. Somebody we can put on Jokic, who knows Jokic. That's what Nurkic does. He played with Jokic for the first 3 years of his career. So, that not somebody I would be looking for if I had Anthony Davis. But now that I just need a center to be reasonable, I can add people like him to my list of players that may be good for me right now. So that's kind of what it is. You would have never heard me say anything like this before when we had Anthony. But now that Anthony's gone, we really do need to expand our intentions. I haven't mentioned Day'Ron Sharpe very much. But yeah, I would love for us to acquire him at this point, obviously. I think he's just slipped my mind, but he's definitely somebody that should be near the top of the list as a guy who can upgrade from the guys that we have. I don't know that he's that much better than Jackson Hayes, but he is better than Jackson Hayes. It's not a massive upgrade, but his upside is solid. And I think he will do good with the minutes that we give him at the center position for the time being, you know. And they do have Clowney, they do have Claxton, or maybe they move Claxton as well, who knows. But I think if we can get Day'Ron Sharpe over the next 24 hours, that would be a real win for us too. So yeah, Day'Ron Sharpe, definitely want to give him a little more credit. I haven't mentioned his name enough, and it's just simply slipped my mind. But he's a real need for our team at this point if we can get him. So yeah, man, this is the stuff we're talking about. Their center position is so very meaningful. It was before we had Anthony Davis gone, but now he barely survived without a center. And I think the fear should be not wanting to be Dallas 3 years ago, when they only had Christian Wood and no rim protection. Luka the Don's greatness could not even get them where they needed to go at all. And I don't imagine you want LeBron James wearing his body out trying to play center. And you know what I mean? Jackson Hayes already got hurt this year. The Lord knows we can't afford for that to happen anymore. So these type of things is like, if I'm beholden to the understanding that Jackson Hayes is my only center, then I'm asking for a big trouble. Even if I got these super Hall of Famers on my basketball team, we're just not gonna cut it, man. And so you talk about needing somebody, anybody, to come in and just be better than those guys. So yeah, Claxton would be great. Obviously, Miles Turner would be pie in the sky. Walker Kessler's pie in the sky. I think we should add Nurkic to the conversation a little bit. A guy who's fallen down the list for me is what's his face out of Chicago? Vucevic. I don't think he makes as much sense without Anthony Davis. He's a guy you move into the center position to be an offensive star, and Anthony cleans up everything that he does defensively, mistakes and stuff like that. If you don't have Anthony Davis in place and now you're bringing him in, you have a redundancy in the offensive end and still the same problems defensively. Not necessarily the type of thing you want to bring to your team right now. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. I don't quite love that anymore for us. If we had that rim protector at that 4 spot, Vucevic makes some sense. Without it, nah. I'm not trying to continue on that path of just focusing only on the offensive end. You really do need to plug your defensive issues, because what you're going to end up doing is putting too much pressure on Vando and Dodo, and you're going to end up hurting those guys. That's what I see coming. Because our defense is going to be so deficient, we're going to ask them to do everything defensively, and they're going to end up getting hurt. So, and see, that's the importance of having a center in this situation too. You're going to end up running Bron and Luka into the ground. It's going to be hard not to say Bron and AD. Them two things go together, you know what I mean? Like, literally go together. Just like Luka and Kyrie at this point, to a degree. Find yourself getting ready to say those, and you got, I gotta tell myself Luka and Bron. Bron and the Don, I don't know. We gotta figure something out, but Don and LeBron, I don't know, but we gotta figure that out, because that doesn't roll off the tongue like Bron and AD. But yeah, man, that is over with. We got a new era now, and we got to fill in the pieces that they need and work into the equation that we don't need the stuff we needed when AD was on the team. Some of the pieces we were dreaming, it only made sense because of AD. So, yeah, some of the stuff that we could live without only made sense because of AD. Now, we got to incorporate some of this stuff. And maybe don't need to focus so much on playmakers and ball handlers and stuff. They don't need nothing like that as much anymore. So, yeah, man. I want Rob Pelinka to focus with whatever he can. I know we don't have too many picks, so I'm not sitting up here saying, in the draft, we need to get this. I don't think we can even focus on this year's draft. And even with second-round picks, I don't think we have them. But we need to try to target somebody like a Derrick Jones Jr., wingy, athletic, bouncy type of dude. We need somebody like that now. Shaedon Sharpe would be an amazing addition to our team right now. I know that's not realistic. You're not getting him, but, like, that's the type of bouncy type of dude that I think will really help. Somebody we can have at the wing position, the 3 spot, that can catch lobs, bounce out the gym, be a recipient of catch and shoot situational opportunity, stuff like that. Mikal Bridges type, maybe somebody like that. Durable, can defend, catch and shoot, get out in the fast break, finish. These guys are not easy to find, but I really do think that this team needs something like that on it now. We need to start valuing athleticism in a real way, because Luka's not athletic, but he can certainly take advantage of hyper-athletic players. So for me, I don't want to double down and triple down on non-athletic, cerebral types. I don't need no more of that. I need athletes, bouncy dudes, high fly acts. I really do need some pogo sticks out there. So that's why I want Rob Pelinka to do a much more intentional job of trying to find those type of talents. That's why I would love to land a Jalen Duren or a Nicholas Claxton at the front court, because that really solidifies some athleticism there. I think Jackson Hayes will be good as a backup or a third string for that reason. I'm not necessarily looking to jettison him out of town, because I think his piece could really be utilized by Bron and Luka Doncic a lot. But I don't want to rely upon him as my starter or even my backup. He's a situational center. And if people get hurt and it just comes down to us having to play him for a couple weeks, then you just do it and you're forced to. But I don't think moving him is necessarily the vision. I actually think he fits better now with another playmaker in place to get him lobs. So that's something I've been thinking about. I think Jackson Hayes makes a little more sense right now. Cam Reddish makes more sense too, because you need the perimeter defender. You've lost Max Christie, so it would be wise for the Lakers to snap out of this with Cam Reddish, literally snap out of this and get him back on the floor, because you need him to do some of that Max Christie stuff as early as tonight. And that's what it is. He's your answer for a missing Max Christie, especially if we're having some setbacks with Gabe Vincent's knee. I don't know what's going on there, but he's on the injury report with a knee. And obviously that's what he had his surgery on. I don't know if it's the same knee. I'm not certain. But I'm definitely of the mindset that if we're going to have problems with him and we're going to remove Max Christie and Cam Reddish respectively in their own ways, then we're definitely going to be a bad team guarding people like James Harden, Dwight Powell. Not Dwight Powell. He's still in Dallas, by the way. But a Norman Powell. Players like that we're going to see tonight. If we don't have Cam Reddish out there trying to help defend those people, it's going to be an easy career night for people like that. So I think it's very important that the Lakers look at that situation for what it's worth and try to incorporate Cam Reddish back into the situation so that you can have that defensive player that can at least be comparable to Max Christie in the areas that he helped us. So, yeah, man, we gotta pick and plug, man. Even when Luka comes back, that's going to be the answer defensively. Pick and plug. So, yeah, man, that's the attitude. Excited about this season. We're going to have more conversations like this. Video 44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.